up, Sasso? This is my reflection, just a little bit of the chapter for chapter 6 on collaboration. I decided to do a video. I don't think it was a choice, actually. No. Okay, so I'm just gonna dive right in. So I love different aspects of the social change model. One of them, the collaboration piece, I was learning a lot. How we'll start about collaboration versus competition. I thought it was interesting, so I wrote down like how the difference is with collaboration. It's like a mutually exclusive goal. That's attainment. It's focused on achieving the goal collectively versus like competition, which usually it usually doesn't motivate people to do the best that they can. It only motivates them to do better than others. It's not your way or my way, but a better way, trying to convince one another. And I think that's the biggest thing too, because I think even our program sometimes is more like a competition versus like collaboration, or like how can we make SIUE better, or how can we collab versus different department areas and etc. It's always on like a competition on like which department's doing this, what department's doing that. It's never like how can we collectively come together. And even like as I think about with my practicum, I think I like the aspect like today I went to the crew, which is their campus activities board training, and that's where I'm just now coming from, and how like I work in fraternity sorority life, but they gave me the opportunity to go to the trainings that they're doing for their executive board members, and like I'm working with leadership programs and like developing that, but like I work in fraternity sorority life, so it's more like a collaboration piece. When I was working on the lead up, that's what it's called, which is a leadership program. I work with another supervisor, which his name is Joe, and we were like brain dumping and collaborating amongst the social change model, because that's what he wants the program to be focused on. And I thought it was interesting. It wasn't like I was kind of like going in and having my ideas being presented, but then I went out like it was a collaborative effort. I didn't try to like sway them to like take all my ideas and like we should all go this way. When he brought in a social change model and his own like learning outcomes, I was like we're receptive to it versus being like in a competitive way to like think like, oh, all my ideas are gonna work, you know, like we should use these learning outcomes and etc. So I thought that was basically an interesting thing. But like I said, to piggyback off our class, I think it's more like a competitive thing versus a collaboration. That's what instantly it made me think about. And then like it talked about cooperation versus collaboration. And it talks about how cooperation is a relationship that tries to achieve mutual goals. So a lot of times when you're on a team, like having mutual goals, I know currently now, like when we have our FSL team meetings, we all talk about like different projects that we're working on and try to come together collectively to come up with one goal for the community, and like what is the focus far as on that goal. And like also another thing that I thought it was interesting was it was like working together towards common goals by sharing responsibilities, authority, and accountability in achieving these goals. That was interesting because a lot of times we work on a team, it's somebody that's overseeing the team and like oversee the direction of the team versus just everyone being a part of the team. I think that was like very interesting when I was thinking. I instantly thought about that. I thought about my GA. I thought about all these type of different experiences where I was on the team and like, was I being cooperative or was I being competitive? Was I trying to get my point across, or was I actually being engaged and listening and developing a plan together? Also, another thing, I highlight a lot or whatever in this chapter. I like the aspect, even when we're going back to competition, is meaning one person succeeds only if another one does not. Even when I'm advising students, I think of how when I'm trying to get NPHC to work together as a team and work together, I think a lot of times even in their executive meetings, it's always one person is winning like the argument versus the other. And I'm trying to work on ways on how can I effectively help them come together on a collab effort instead of like this is one person's perspective, the president's perspective, and this is the way we're going with, or like another person feel like their ideas or something ain't being heard. Like mutually, like everyone's winning, because like I think a lot of times we advising students it's more like a competitive thing, or like we come in and say like, oh, this is how something should be, or this is the direction we're gonna go, versus coming in and saying like, no, let's think of collectively together and how can we come up with one goal. Another thing I thought was very interesting as well is diversity in collaboration process. I don't think it's a lot of diversity within the collaboration process and different people. But I think like when it says diversity, I'm thinking more of inclusion. Like how's everyone being included? Because when everyone's not included, it goes back to that competitive, or it goes back to not essentially collaborating. Okay. So Dr. Sessa, I had a few more points to do, but I'm over the time. But yeah, so that was the biggest thing. As I'm working in the office of student life and engagement, I look at like how my practicum engages and collabs in a different way versus my GA. Here in this office, it's a lot of like collaboration, a lot of like hands on deck. Like, what do you want to do? What do you want to help with? Versus my GA, it's more like everyone's in their specific area, and I think that's the big difference now between my practicum and my GA.